Alright, let's see if I can remember how to do this. Welcome back. It's 2020. It's been a little bit. Happy New Year to everybody. Before I even get into this, Australia's had like some crazy bushfires this past couple of months, and we've just started to get some rain. So yeah, hats off to all the firefighters out there because they've had a huge task. Like the entire East Coast is pretty much on fire. There's so many days where you'd wake up and it just be smoke everywhere, and I mean that's nothing compared to the people that have lost their homes, their lives. Yeah, it's really, really bad. So yeah, thanks again to the firefighters. So today we are gonna get the front subframe and the rear subframe, which is hiding tucked underneath the car because as you can see I don't have any space, into the car. Real quick, what I'm gonna do is basically go over the front subframe, the rear subframe, and what's been done and what parts are there, and then we'll just basically jump straight in. I'm gonna put this thing together and hopefully we are back to a rolling show. I know on face value doesn't sound like a lot, rolling show, big whoop, but that's a massive step for me and a huge item ticked off the list. Anyway, let's get into this. So the front subframe. So you guys already know Tim from Machina Magica has came and helped me out. He's basically zinc coated and powder coated the front subframe and done a show finish on it. So all the welds you can see are smoothed down. I mean, everything is just immaculate on it. I went ahead and refreshed my steering rack, put new boots on it, gave it a lick of paint, and I might go back and zinc coat these. We'll see. I mean, at this stage, I just want to put the damn thing in the car. This isn't your typical restoration of a subframe. This is like a show style finish. Like everything's been smoothed back. It's been file finished basically by hand. So you wouldn't do this to a normal restoration. So this is the rear subframe brace. I can show you the difference. So this has been zinc coated and powder coated as well, but you can see the imperfections in the metal, where it's still got like the chip marks from me jacking the car up and stuff like that and not wanting to do on the seals. With Tim's work, he's basically taken all those imperfections out. So you can see everything straight edge. Like I said, the welds, everything's file finished. The other thing I wanted to point out real quick before I start is the type of powder coat. So he's every single bolt hole, everything, I can just put the screw or the nut or the bolt straight in, no issue at all. Like right here, 9B, that goes straight in, no issue at all. Now these arms and the lower control arms, most of this stuff I've had to sit here and sand back for hours to get stuff to fit because, you know, it just isn't the same quality. So I've got to basically go through and try and get stuff to fit into the holes by sanding it out or milling out the paint. So it's been a massive headache. Basically all of these pieces from here over is the front subframe. Got upper control arm, your J arm, your front hub and knuckle, and there's a bush behind it. This plate is your upper camber arm, basically mounting point, which goes up into the wheel well over there. Front caster arms, the axles, which I got redone, the new boots and grease. I might give them a lick of paint because they look pretty rough. Got some subframe spacers, so I made these. Well, I made these with help. Me and my buddy Michael, which you guys have met before with the white 32, helped me out with these. So they're 10 mil thick, 100 mil long, and then the front and rear have different spacing on them. So I measured that out, and now I've got subframe spacers for the big boy 30. So you can see the front subframe has significantly less pieces than the rear subframe, which has so many pieces. Like the subframe's hiding under there, I won't go into that one because it's basically the same as that, just minus the show, but it's still the same finish because Tim's done it. But you can see there's so many more pieces. I've got the rear hubs, the Attessa pump, the diff, all the lines, every single suspension arm, the Nismo lower arms, the chassis brace, diff tunnel, the sway bar, and the axles. So all of that stuff will be going together. I've got new bushings put into every single knuckle. The diff has new bushings, new bearings in the J-arms. Everything has been finished. So you like, I don't know, maybe you don't get an appreciation of how much work has gone into it, but that's how much work has gone into it. Yeah, I've had delays with parts. The Nismo suspension arms I had to wait 2 months for. Took me, you know, that's 2 months of the build just waiting on that. The powder coating, I think it took like a week and a half. All the different things that I got zinc coated is 2-3 weeks. Like, this stuff takes time. I mean, that's just kind of how it goes. It all just takes time. Yeah, I know it's been a long road so far, but we're gonna get a nice big chunk of it done this video. So let's stop all this talking and let's start working. Alright, so it's a new day. The camera died, but I kept going, so I'll show you what I got. So both J-arms are on, hubs, everything's on. I just need to put the discs on and basically roll this thing out so I can mount it. And I will go over those guys in just a second. So let me roll this out, put the wheels on, put the brakes on. I'll move the bollard out of the way and I'll roll it underneath the car so that way it's ready to go up onto the onto the actual chassis. So that looks weird, but it should roll now. So we can turn it and somehow fit it underneath the car. Alright, so I managed to get it under there. Had to take the wheels off because it wouldn't clear past the wheel arches. But it's in there and I am sweating like a pig. Whoa, it's hot. Summertime ain't no joke in Australia. You can see all the dust and ash that are getting on the car, even though I've got the garage door closed. That tells you how bad it is. Alright, so before I start lifting this thing up, I'm just going to quickly show you guys. This is a subframe spacer. So there's 2 for the front, 2 for the rear of the front subframe. And that is what's going to allow me to fit my RB30 block. I just made these out of 10 mil aluminum and then did my own little coating on them just to protect it from rust. Came up pretty good, and I mean, it's just a spacer, so that's why I just kind of opted to spend the 20 bucks on these. Hot day. Sweating. We got it in there. Front subframe is officially in. Everything looks weird because it's all hanging low, but that's all right. We can get all that worked out. That's all right. Subframe is officially back in. Engine bay is painted. We are in the home stretch of getting this thing as a roller. Instead of starting on the rear subframe now, what I'll do is just show you guys really quickly something else really cool. I got this cool book right here. I'm not gonna try and touch it here because I got dirty hands, but I saved a bookmark. And I mean, you can just see, like, you forget how good a book with like tangible pictures is until you get one. So Alex did this book, The GTR Journey. If you're a GTR owner or even just like GTRs, I highly recommend grabbing that book. It's the sickest thing I've had in a long time. The other quick mention I wanted to do was a big thank you to the guys out at Kudos Motorsports. They have been literally non-stop helping me out, supplying me with all the parts. I usually send an email, they'll come straight back and go, yep, and it's out the door. If I don't get it the next day, then I get it like 2 days later, which is pretty good. All the bushings basically for the knuckles, all the dust seals, every little bit and bob that I could have possibly wanted, they've basically supplied for me. And helped me out so much. So definitely want to say a huge thank you to Michael and Andrew. You guys have been awesome. It just made me realize how many Michaels and Andrews I now know. Alright, so now, again, rear subframe's under there. So now I'm going to go ahead and get all this together. We'll put the the rear subframe together, put it in, hopefully get this thing on the ground and rolling. Alright, so I've hit my first snag. I'm just basically buttoning up the front subframe. It's in, but I'm just buttoning up all the little bolts and things that hold everything else together. And I'll just show you what I'm talking about. So this ball joint here, just basically goes in there. But anytime that I put a screw or the bolt back on, or the nut back on, whatever you want to call it, I put the whole nut back on and the entire stud seems to want to spin. And I'm not sure how to get around that. Might be able to see, just watch the stud. See how the whole thing is spinning? Yeah, I'm not sure how to get around that just yet. So, yeah, that's the stuff that makes these builds take forever, because you hit problem like that and then you got to work out how to fix it, get around it. If I need to get a new part, then I've got to wait. So let's continue on and come back to it. Wanted to get the car on the ground in this video, but looks like there's going to be a part 2, so stay tuned. I'm going to keep cracking on with this thing and fix a couple of issues that I've got. Hopefully I can get this ball joint in the mail here pretty quick, and we'll keep going. Anyway, that'll be it for this one. I'll get a couple of more parts, we'll get this thing done, and hopefully the next video we have a rolling shell again. Which I know in the grand scheme of things isn't much, but for me a rolling shell is a huge step. That means a lot of work's been done, and I'm one step closer to getting this thing back on the road, having an engine in it. So yeah, stay tuned.
Come true.